New Haven is suing the Trump administration over executive orders targeting sanctuary cities. Channel 3's Bryant Reed is your reporter in New Haven tonight with what is at stake here. Bryant.
Some people living in the area, everything is at stake. Really candidly, we just had a conversation with somebody who's afraid that they may end up getting deported back to Argentina. And these are the exact people that Mayor Elicker is fighting for, these undocumented immigrants, despite the threat of losing federal funding. New Haven Mayor Justin Elicker says he is taking a stand against the Trump administration. The city is joining a lawsuit to fight against an executive order to round up undocumented immigrants.
New Haven and other jurisdictions have made the lawful decision to limit the use of local resources to assist federal civil immigration enforcement.
However, Trump's executive order forces cities to divert resources into helping ICE deport undocumented immigrants. Elicker says not only is that government overreach, but the threat of taking away funding should they not comply would be dangerous.
The impact that it has on cities like New Haven is that it makes our cities less safe.
Tabitha Sukdeo is the executive director for Connecticut Students for a Dream. She works with undocumented students and their families. Since the executive order to round up undocumented immigrants has come down, families have been scared to step out of their homes.
Schools are important to attend so that newcomers can learn English, they can access social services and just become part of the fabric of the new society.
Fatima Rojas has heard similar stories from families who interact with the Semilla Collective. Her group teaches about different Hispanic cultures and organizes gatherings.
It's very unhuman what's going on. It's very targeting human beings that are thriving in this community.
Now, both Rojas and Sukdeo are getting behind New Haven's lawsuit, helping to support and educate undocumented immigrants.
We're just going to have to keep fighting and continue to assert ourselves as deserving of dignity.
Now, along with San Francisco and Portland, Oregon, Mayor Elicker says he expects other cities to join the cause here. Now, he also says that despite giving federal workers as little resources as possible to round up any undocumented immigrants, he says that it is legal and he will continue to fight for human rights. Your reporter in New Haven tonight, Bryant Reed, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.